Ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come. This is it. This is the National Championship. And let me tell you, everything I have done to this point, every single mistake I've made, every single training session to make up for it, every single one move blunder that blundered mate and won in an end game with seconds on the clock, every little bitter defeat has given me the fire, the desire to expire on a higher plateau. And you know how that go. I should start rapping. So yeah, every single thing has led up to this point. So let's get it. This is it, the tournament of my life. And if I manage to win this tournament, this is my title. Actually, not just win it. If I get top five spots at the end, then so yeah, basically all I need to do is get top five, and I'll get my title as well. So I mean, I'm super excited for this tournament, and I think that this has got to be the best tournament I've ever played in my life, hands down. So you guys wait and see what happened this tournament. So on this game, we actually got the black side, so I'm playing the black pieces here. Sorry about that. And yeah, just a quick warning before we start this analysis. Something really strange happened, and I've never had this happen to me, or I've never seen it happen to anyone else. What happened was, um, okay, we played the game, we inserted all the moves into the score sheet, and then we signed it and gave it to the arbiters and whatnot. And then I check on round two when I've played round two, and the game is completely different. Like, why is there a completely different game? This is not what we played in the notation on chess results. And it's like, okay, really strange. I talked to one of the arbiters, and he said, "Oh, somebody took your PGN. Somebody took your score sheet and just left with it." Like, what? I've seen many things get stolen here in Brazil. Like my university, someone stole the microwave and the fucking air conditioner. What? It's insane. But someone stole a score sheet. And I'm like, why? How? What? So many questions, but whatever. So I don't have the full game for this. I just have the opening, which I can remember from the top of my head. So let's just get into this. I win this game though. I'll say that immediately. I win this game. So e4, c5, knight f6, knight c6, my main weapon, and then bishop b5, the Rossolimo, which is one of the most the openings I feel the most discomfort. So I was really not happy to see this in the first round, but again, it's a 1500. I can't underestimate him, of course, but yeah, I would have preferred to see some other Sicilian lines. e6, castles, knight g7, and castles is following the main line. And then if you were to follow the theory that I'm familiar with, he'd play rook e1, I'd go a6, he'd go bishop f1, and we'd play from there. I'd be a bit more comfortable. He goes d4. Sorry about that. And I have a history of not scoring that well in these lines, and I forgot what to do at this point. So, of course, I feel the best move is to take and then knight takes. And this is where I really missed a big opportunity because this is suboptimal, this d4 move that he played. And it's suboptimal because I have a very nice resource that I saw in the game, but I couldn't calculate 100%. I didn't know if it was getting too stale, but it was queen b6. And I saw queen b6, and I didn't like knight takes, b takes, bishop retreats. And yeah, I didn't know if I was gonna play for d5, if I was gonna play for knight g6 ideas, and how that was gonna go. So I wanted to try and stick to something which is more familiar to me. So knight takes, this is what I was talking about, bishop e2, and then if I go like knight g6, there's c4, and then d6 is a backwards pawn, and I was kind of hesitant about that, but then again, it's gonna happen regardless if I play this way or not, so I should have just went for this line, and then something like bishop b7, and then the problem and the perk for me of playing queen b6 is I've got some nice pressure against this this b2 pawn. But now that he's played c4, it's kind of okay for him to actually move his bishop out, because I think it would be way too risky to capture this pawn. All of his pieces are active. I haven't castled yet, and I really would like to castle, and opening the b file for him, getting his knight developed quickly, doesn't seem like the way to go. Here I'd actually have to play c5, which is also something I'm unfamiliar with, but okay, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Then play d6, maybe bishop b7, castles, that kind of stuff. It would have been a good game. Not that my move was bad, I played a6 in this position, and then he played bishop b2, which is what I was hoping for. I didn't want to see knight takes. Okay, so that's good. And here, again, another not enough understanding of the position is what I'll say. Position. D5 was the best here. I saw D5 again. I didn't want to get into line, so I have an isolated queen's pawn. You can see, like, okay, if I play, well, if he goes knight takes, I go knight take, then there'll be pawn take, and then either queen takes or pawn takes. Pawn takes would be better, because if you're gonna have an isolated pawn, it's better to have queens on the board. So, I mean, this would be the position. It's okay. It's completely fine, but again, there's no need, I felt. So, and if I play d5 and he goes e takes immediately, then I can go queen takes, knight takes, and then queen takes, actually. And this I didn't see fully. So this would have been actually very good for me, because I don't have an isolated pawn. My queen is developed. I can play stuff like knight g6, bishop out very quickly, and that would be good for me. So, anyways, I play instead knight g6, following the basic game plans I'm familiar with. He goes c4. Now you can play knight c3, and he has very good control over the d file. And again, this is a backwards pawn. So, yeah, the problem is going to be this pawn is going to be quite weaker throughout the game, which is what happens. Bishop b7 is what I play. Again, another chance missed to develop a bit more precisely with bishop c5. Then the best line follows: knight c2, castles, knight c3, d6, bishop b3, and then we trade bishops, and this would be the position. Again, not fully sure about this. I couldn't really see any concrete plans for me through this, so it was just very strange for me to play this game. Bishop b7, knight c3, castles, bishop b3, and this is all I remember. What I ended up doing was I played for a kingside expansion with d6, e5, and f5, so I built this all up, and I managed to actually win this game. So I was worse, I think, throughout a good portion of the middle game, and then he made a mistake which made it equal, and then he made another mistake which actually made it winning for me in the end game. So yeah, I managed to win through the end game, which is why it's always important to study your end game, guys. And that's it for round one. Now, today's going to be round 1 and 2. Hopefully the video won't be extremely, excruciatingly long. Let me just grab game 2 then. Here we go. Yeah. Wait, is this it? Let me check. One sec. Yeah, okay. So this is round 2, and I've got the white pieces. And, you know, there wasn't any crazy nonsense with my PGN or my score sheet being stole this round. We just had a normal game, but my opponent did arrive a bit late, so he had less time on the clock, I think about 15 minutes. You're allowed half an hour of delay. So, okay, knight f3, c5, g3, which is what I always play, knight c6, and in these lines, usually black will want to play for a lot of space, and if they were to play something on move 2, like let's say d5, they're not really able to play this move because my knight is defending that square. So the idea of playing knight c6 on the second move is that he wants to make this move viable. So this is now a possibility that he can play for. And I'd love to play something like d4 to kind of stop that, but I really can't play that in this position because if I play d4, then of course the position will look something like this. So d4, c takes, knight takes, and then he's not really obligated to take me. He's not obligated to play e5, and we get into like a reverse Grunfeld position. He can play something like g6, and then that's going to be very annoying for my knight because it's either going to have to retreat or be defended in a strange way, or I capture his knight, which again is not optimal. So yeah, this is why I don't play this d4 move. I actually allow him to play his e5, which he wants, which he does. And the idea behind this is now I can play c4. And by playing c4, we're kind of in an English position where it's a symmetrical English. And I should have put that in the game description. Okay, there we go. I've adjusted it. So my opponent is Denrique Cabral Jorge. He is 1908. So a very strong and decent player. And yeah, I actually made a I misspoke. There was some crazy stuff in this game. What was the crazy stuff? I can't remember. Something really crazy happened. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, okay, so c4 is what I play here, and he plays g6 in this position. So again, I've stopped him from playing d5 and grabbing the whole center for himself. And if he tries to play something like, let's say, e4, then this pawn's just going to get captured in the future. I can play stuff like, let's say, knight h4, and then the e-pawn's under attack, he'd have to reinforce, but there's not really a good way to do that, and eventually the pawn will end up being captured, so this is just a huge weakness that he's created, and probably a lost pawn, so he's a good player. He doesn't do this, of course. He plays g6, castles, bishop g7 just developing naturally, knight c3, and now e4 is completely parried, and then d6 by him. And it's funny because if he were to play knight g e7, he would have fallen into some prep that I've made for a different opponent. And I can't believe I was remembering it at the time, but I would have fully played it, and that would have been just a crushing game. So he plays d6, which is the better move. Ah yeah, the craziness I remember. So this guy was actually being coached by a GM for this tournament. And yeah, so this was like his way of trying getting me into a worse position. So which is kind of what happens after rook b1. I should have played a3 to play b4. Like rook b1 isn't really fully necessary in these lines. I could just play a3 and b4 if he allows me. I'm gonna have to play a3 anyways, is the point I'm trying to make. And then, okay, knight g7 by him, a3. I was calculating bishop f5 stuff, but then I just play stuff like d3 and I'm good. So this is never a move because I just go here. And then there's no attack on my rook. He plays a5, which is a good move. The idea of a5 is he's trying to stop me from playing b4, which he does. So now I need to come up with a plan of how I'm going to attack this square. And the plan I came up with was, let's play knight e1, which may look strange because it's a retreating move and my knight's on the first rank. Like, what is this? Like, are you serious? Are you serious right, Neil? And yes, I'm very serious because my idea is trying to get to c2. And from c2, my knight supports this push. So it's a game plan that works. Also, not just that, but it opens up my bishop. So now my bishop controls d5, which it didn't do in the position of my knight on f3. So that's the idea. He goes bishop e6. And again, another reason why knight e1 was so great. So if I had a knight on f3, I would just have to accept the fact that he's going to have this d5 push. But now that he's played this, I can actually play knight d5 and clog up the hole. And by playing this, he can never capture me with his knight because I take back with the pawn and that would fork 2 pieces. So that's impossible. Basically, he can never capture my knight if he has 2 pieces here. Or he can take with the bishop, but that would be very bad for him. So he just castles, which is logical. and I want to play for my game plan, which is knight c2, so I play that. And a4 now. So a4 has two ideas. The first is you're saying that I will 100% have this b file open, and you're going to take on Pasan if I push b5, like this will happen, and okay. It may be a bit better than allowing him to, for the a file to be open. I can't speak today. And the second idea is he wants to play knight a5, attacking this pawn, which is undefended as of now. So, I was calculating many things at this point. I was calculating b4 immediately, which is the more forcing move. And that's a good tip for everybody. You always calculate the more forcing line first. And if there's a problem with the forcing line, then you can find a solution in the next line you calculate. So let's say b4 happens, a takes, and then I play rook takes b3, which is the most natural move. Then comes knight a5, and the problem with knight a5 is both these are under attack. I can't go here, and the only square I can go to is c3. So this is very forcing. And if I go to c3, then he's going to play e4 and attack my rook. So this is just getting way too messy. There's no need to get into all of these complications. I'm not even sure if it survives, to be honest. So, yeah, that's not why I play. I don't play b4 immediately. However, you can play b4 immediately if you're a genius and you find knight ce3. Look at this move, just losing a pawn. Why not? Take my pawn. I don't care. You can play knight a5 and reinforce, but I mean, I would never play this. Yeah, let's just not. I play d3, which is more sane, because now, if he plays knight a5, then it's not really that big of a deal. I'm still going to have b4 at some point. And he does go ahead and play knight a5. Now, d3 had a second point to it. The first point is it defends c4. The second point is it opens up my bishop. So now, I play this move, bishop g5. And I'm threatening stuff like knight f6 check. And that could be quite nasty. I'm pinning his knight, so I'm immediately threatening to play like knight takes c7, which is even better. So he has to deal with that first and foremost. And there is only one good way to deal with it. And again, this was a very forcing line for me. So when I see a forcing line that looks good, I'll play it. f6 is forced, and this kind of makes his bishop a bit worse, was the idea. It also undefends this bishop, so now it's hanging. So there are some ideas there. And basically the way I chose to get out of this was now I play knight takes d7 check, queen takes, and then bishop d2. So now I'm attacking his knight, which is again another forcing move. And he plays a inaccuracy, which is queen d7. Me and the engine both agreed that he should have went for knight b3, attacking my bishop. And then from here I'd go for something like bishop c3, rook a b8, and then my plan from here was to go knight a1. Yeah, sure, it's very slow, and I kind of undeveloped my rook, but I've got a game plan, and it looks very solid and good, so I thought this was going to be the best continuation for me. And yeah, he can't go b5 because I'll just take that, and that would be okay for me. And yeah, I'll play from there. So he plays queen d7, which is an inaccuracy, and from here I can play a very, very counterintuitive move, a move I was scared to play because it's giving up the bishop pair. It's bishop takes a5. Because now you've made b4 possibility, rook takes, b4, a takes, rook takes, and now look at this beautiful b file opened up. I'm hitting this, and this is weak, and the queen's on this rank, and there's some tactics possibly, and my queen can enter the game with tempo. Everything looking good here, everything looking amazing for me. So I was really happy to get this position on the board, and he had a little surprise for me. He is a good player, and he found b5, which is actually an insane move here. So, many calculations at this point. Yeah, I was calculating rook takes b5, how that would look like. I even calculated queen d1 kind of stuff, queen d2 kind of stuff. Queen d2 was actually the best move, if I'm not mistaken. And after queen d2, rook a7, we'd play rook takes b5, and he would have d5. And this is kind of what I didn't like in that position, because it's very scary to have this pawn be under attack again, and there's also this pin here. So my queen's undefended and it's pinned, and it's saying, okay, black's giving up c5 for free, so white can take it if they please, and then this will happen, and then we can't recapture, and if we try and just defend our queen, like let's say rook d1, okay, rook d8, again, it's pinned because there's two attackers on the queen, one defender. So yeah, again, complications I didn't want to get into. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. And I found this really nice resource, knight b3. So the idea is now my knight defends this c4 square. So after b takes, the better move here would be to play d takes c4, and then just hammer down on this this d6 square. I play knight takes, and after rook moves, because I'm attacking the rook, I thought that rook b6 was really good, and this was the idea of knight takes c4. I'm adding serious pressure here, and it's not just that, I had a deeper idea, and the deeper idea was if he plays d5, which is the only way to save the pawn, I would have knight e3. And the idea is now I'm going to sack the rook, so take, and then bishop takes d5 will pin the queen to the king. So if he doesn't find this next move, he's going to lose the game. And apparently, knight e3 was not the best. So after d5, you can actually play rook d6. Okay, I'm not winning d5. How's that contributing? Queen f7, knight b6. And both of my pieces are hanging behind enemy lines, and it's just winning a pawn. Isn't that insane? Like, I didn't see this at all, but it would have been insane to play on the board. And so I just go knight e3 like a human being. And he moves his king off, so now there's no tactic. I can't sack the rook for the bishop. So I need to find a way to add more pressure, develop my final pieces. So I play queen b3, and c4 comes. So the position is opening up. Of course, I have to pawn take here. He, of course, will pawn take. And I play a slight imprecision here. I play queen c3. Better would be to play either knight takes c4 or queen b4. Queen b4 would be better just because it's stepping out of the way of this. And this would not be good for me if I stay on c3. So b4 would be a bit better. Also, I can triple up and create Alakhine's gun if I play b4. So that's just another perk of playing this move. Yeah, I was scared of this knight takes c4 move because I thought it's too much pressure and the pin will be devastating on me. Like, let's say queen f7 is what I calculated. Rook c1, rook c7, rook c6, takes, and I missed rook c6. And I didn't see that after rook c8, there would be queen b5. And everything is defended. Super tough to find. Very, very tough to find all these moves. So I didn't play this. I go for queen c3. f5 now. And he's threatening to open up his bishop and close my bishop in. Just lock him in jail forever. So I need to find a way to deal with this, or actually not. I play rook d1 and say, okay, you can lock my bishop in, but I'm going to have two very, very nice rooks. Queen f7, rook d6, e4, attacking my queen. I almost blundered here. I almost played queen takes g7, thinking that I would win back my queen. I don't know how I even conceptualized that. It was just complete brain rot. So I'm glad I saw it in the end. I played queen b4. Okay. And here he blunders. Here, he could just lose the game. The better move to play to save this position, because his bishop is attacked, is rook e7. After rook e7, it's an even game. He's actually even slightly better because there's knight c2, trying to control c3 and push my a-pawn and get my bishop free. But he has f4 immediately. And then we get into some crazy lines with like takes, And if he wants, he can actually sack the bishop and take on f4. If he chooses the engine move, which is to go back, then queen d2 saves the pawn, and you can't take because of back rank mate. So if you take, then take, then take, then check. Let me show you this line because it goes a bit deeper than that. So you can't do this. This would be a blunder because of take, take, and then check, and then let's say you go back and then take, and then here, and then you pin. And then if this happens, then bishop here. Yeah, tough game. This is quite hard to see. So he actually plays a blunder, and instead of the best move, he plays rook e8. Rook e8. And you guys can pause the video, try and find the winning move. Whites play and win. If you found the move, congratulations, you just beat a 1908 in some serious time pressure. And he played this blunder again because we're both starting to get into time pressure at this point. So rook e8, the win would have been rook takes e6, rook takes, and now after queen takes, his rook on a7 is undefended. So check, and we pick up the rook. Very, very nice combination here that I missed. Again, time pressure, I don't blame myself. I think I played very well up to this point. And then you can see it kind of slip away. I play rook b8 here. A dubious move, trading off some pieces where I really shouldn't. I should just be attacking him. So yeah, this was a bit dubious. Rook a7, defending. Rook d8, again, just time pressure moves, trying to play any kind of move. Rook takes, queen takes. And then from this whole combination, we kind of got some more time on the clock. I think I got like a minute or something from this combination. And I started to think again and use my actual brain. So I had like 1 minute on the clock and I was thinking, okay, how can I do this? I can take on c4 and I can push my a-pawn down the board and that looks really good. I can play stuff like e3 and get my bishop to f1. That looks really good as well. However, he may have some attacking ideas like push and then back rank issues with this after queen on d1 or something. So many ideas just bam, 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 firing through the brain because you need to play fast at this point. So knight takes c4. Okay, queen c8. Oh my god, it's double attacked. I need to move the knight. How do I do this? Okay, I want to push my pawn. Let's control a8 and play knight here. Also control this bishop a bit. There are no good squares for his bishop anymore, so this was a very practical move. Queen c3. I don't want a queen trade. Let's move my queen then. Again, everything firing super fast in my brain. I can't think for shit. So queen d6, attacking his bishop, just defending my knight as well. Okay, he defends his bishop. Now I can push though because my knight controls a4. E3, oh my god, what do I do now? Is this mating? Am I losing the game from this? There's e takes f2. Like, this is everything that's going through my brain super fast and I have no time to calculate. Okay, what do I do? F4. F4, just push it. This was a blunder. That loses the game, including. Yeah, and I could have just won the game because e3 is a blunder as well. All I had to do was play queen d8, bishop g8 forced, bishop d5. And I saw this idea, I saw all of this, I didn't see e takes f2, king takes f2, bishop d4 check, and king g2. I stopped at e takes f2 and king takes, and I just said, okay, I can't expose my king too much. That was the wrong decision, and I could have just won the game from this very position. The queen's under attack, and I'm threatening mate. You can't defend the bishop a second time on g8. So f4, g5, oh my god, his pawns are rolling down the board. What do I do? I'm gonna get massacred. Queen d8 check, bishop g8, g takes f5 is a blunder because of queen b1, bishop f1, and then queen e1. And now I'm getting mated and maybe even perpetual. I'm gonna lose my bishop at the very least, so this would be game losing. Queen b4 is a blunder, however. Bishop f3 saves the position. Now I can run my king to all the way up. f4, another blunder. Bishop d5. I finally play bishop d5, but the problem is now that he's pushed this pawn all the way up the board, it's just losing. Queen e1, actually not losing, sorry, it's drawing. King g2, takes, king h3, queen h5, king g2, queen e2, and that's repetition. So yeah, we draw this game, which is unfortunate, but hey, I mean, I played a really good game, I think. This was a super high-level game from me and my opponent, I think. This was the final game to finish on that day, and the arbiters were like, bro, that game was insane. Such a good game. Congratulations to the both of you, and it really was a amazing game. So I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with the score. I think it went really well for a first day. We're finishing 1.5 out of 2, which puts us straight at the top. So we're in the race, you know. This could be a possibility. We could just get the title. And I know if we got the title or not, but I'm not gonna tell you guys and spoil it. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun tournament. So stay tuned for the next round. Don't know when I'll be posting as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll see you guys there. Till next time. Bye.